Hello and welcome. This is the newsroom for today, Monday, February 1st, 2021. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, MTN, and Tarzi TV in Bartical. In the headlines, a Berbice man stabs two brothers to death and their mother is critical in hospital. Damage to Rupununi villages from Sunday's tremor still being assessed. Fire again at the Shaheed's Girls Orphanage. And in sport, the sport minister praised for Buxton ground upgrade, and Simmons hints at playing two spinners in the first test against Bangladesh. With the news, I'm Neil Marks. We're glad you could join us. In a bizarre incident, a Berbice man went into a fit of rage Sunday night and stabbed four persons, including two brothers who succumbed to their injuries, while their mother is in a serious condition in the hospital. After committing the act, the man went into his house, had something to eat and watched television. Dead are Mahendra Ramatar, called Sunny, and Surendra Raghunandan, known as Ranga. Their mother, Rukmati, and another person were also stabbed and have been hospitalized and are reportedly in a serious condition. The incident happened at the number 43 Public Road, Quarantine, Berbice. The two brothers were among a group of persons who were attending a wedding. Reports are that the suspect, Vernan Ravi Ragadu, was drinking vodka at a neighbor's house when he became upset when he noticed Mrs. Rukmati Richmond and her husband quarreling on the roadside. He then grabbed a knife and rushed into the crowd, stabbing Rukmati, her two sons, and the other man, who has been identified as Anthony Prasad. When police went to arrest Ragadu, they found him watching television and eating. He did not put up a resistance and was taken into custody. Relatives spoke with the newsroom.
This morning I wake up like around 6:45, around 7. A neighbor called and said that I heard what's going on. I said no. He said that Sonny died. I said what? And she said that she had to call that Sonny died. By then I hung up the phone. A friend called and said that he heard that Sonny and the brother died, that they get stabbed. So I came out. When I came out, I heard when I came here, I heard people say that they were arguing and the suspect is the stepfather brother, and that he slashed Sonny on his belly and his guts coming out, and the mother tried to intervene and she gets stabbed. And when going to the hospital, the aunt said that the police called and said the other brother died. He was slashed in the shoulder. But this morning when I came here, I see the stepfather like he was trying to park, because I see he get a mark on his forehead and a little slash on his nose.
This morning when I get the news 6 o'clock this morning, I come, everybody was telling me different story. And somebody tell me how he and his wife had a little problem, and Sonny, the big one, he picked up his mother, and he and the stepfather had it out, and the stepfather called for the brother run over and they were the accident. And then the other brother went to the road coming, and when he ran over back, he ran to the other brother's. And at one point his sister gets stabbed right in here. I didn't get to see the wound, but the doctor told me she get the breast, one of the breast sliced from top to the back.
Two houses in the villages of Sawariwao and Katunarib in Deep South Rupununi suffered major damages as a result of this 5.7 magnitude earthquake in Brazil that shook several parts of this country at the weekend. Regional Chairman Brian Alcock on Monday told the newsroom that Sawariwao experienced heavy earthquake tremors, one as recent as Monday morning. The regional response system has been mobilized and is assessing the damages.
The regional authorities of Upper Takatu, Upper Essequibo Region 9 are still assessing damages to properties and earth surfaces in the region due to 5.7 magnitude earthquake on Sunday. The regional response system has been mobilized and will provide support to those affected, the Civil Defense Commission said in a statement. The earthquake was felt in Boa Vista, Brazil, and in Guyana at around 15:05 hours Sunday, according to the German Research Center for Geosciences. It was reported that the earthquake hit at a shallow depth of 10 kilometers beneath the epicenter near Boa Vista in the Brazilian state of Roraima. Two houses, one in Sawariwao village and one in Katunarib village, have been destroyed. Thankfully, no injuries were reported, but Regional Chairman Brian Alcock, during a telephone interview with the newsroom on Monday, said other houses also suffer minor damages.
We have had 2 houses that came down, no injuries, nobody were actually in the building. So the walls came down of the house, but no injuries. So far, that's all I get there. But everybody felt the tremor, most of the villages in the region.
The regional chairman further explained that the tremor only lasted for a few seconds. He further revealed that the village of Sawariwao, which is closer to the Brazilian border, have been experiencing tremors for years.
People in Sawariwao have been experiencing all the time.
Oh.
You know, they had the guys from the geology department came up once to look at what was happening in Sawariwao. So even to this morning, the people felt some amount of tremor. It lasted about 10 to 12 seconds.
Based on the Richter magnitude scale for earthquakes, a 5.9 earthquake falls between the ranges of moderate to strong. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Sheena Henry.
A fire of unknown origin broke out in the dressing room on the upper flat of Shahid's Girls Orphanage at Oleander Gardens, East Coast, Demerara at about noon on Monday. There were no injuries to the visibly shaken staff and 28 girls of the home, ranging in age 3 to 16. The details from Daniel Swain.
This is the second time that the orphanage has been affected by fire. The first occurred on October 20, 2018, when the building was completely gutted.
We had a fire in 2018, and this is a whole brand new building from scratch, and now we found that in the dressing room, 3 years after the fire, we found that there's a smoking coming from the ceiling. So that is what I'm trying to investigate, how and why.
The fire was discovered by 3 of the young girls who raised an alarm after seeing smoke emanating from the dressing room ceiling.
It contained, thank God, and it was into the dressing room. Above the dressing, 3 girls were in the room dressing, and they looked up and see the ceiling was like smoking. And the next thing you know, they seen it start flaming.
The blaze was quickly contained by the Guyana Fire Service, which is currently investigating the fire's origins. The CEO praised the fire service's rapid response, crediting them with saving the almost 2-year-old building. And the fire service responded quickly.
I can't complain. Very quickly, very efficient, very professional. That was amazing.
Despite being grateful that the building was not severely burned, the structure, along with the girls' beds and clothes, suffered water damage. Reporting for the newsroom, Daniel Swain.
You're watching the newsroom. Gene expert machines will soon be used to carry out COVID-19 tests. According to the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, the machines were previously used to test persons for tuberculosis, but have now been recalibrated to test for COVID-19. The Health Minister on Monday said the first machine will be sent to the Latam Regional Hospital this week. Testing will be done right at the hospital and persons will be able to get results within an hour. Additionally, the government has also implemented rapid antigen testing, which is done within 20 to 30 minutes, but a more accurate test, the PCR test, is done with the results available within 24 hours.
In addition to the antigen tests and the PCR that they're normally doing, we have now introduced the Gene Expert machine, and we are hoping to have one up in Latam, up and running within this week. They were scheduled to go in today to set up the machine and train the staff, but unfortunately I think the flight has been cancelled. But definitely during the week we have tried to get that machine up to Latam, so they'll be able to do the testing at the hospital itself. We have another machine that is going to be deployed at MADURO, and there's one for Linden and one for New Amsterdam, and we have bought some additional machines which we'll be deploying to some of the other regions as well.
A motion brought by the government parliamentarian Guyana before the Public Accounts Committee to remove opposition parliamentarian David Patterson as its chairman has failed owing to the opposition's refusal to entertain the motion despite advice from the Clerk of the National Assembly, Sherlock Isaacs, that the motion was proper and should be debated and voted on. Kurt Campbell has our report.
When a meeting of the Public Accounts Committee convened in Parliament on Monday, Minister of Governance and Parliamentary Affairs Guyana introduced the motion to have the committee chairman David Patterson removed. Patterson has not heeded calls for his resignation over a well-publicized gift-buying scandal during his tenure as Minister of Public Works. The 3 opposition MPs and the 9-member committee, where the government has a majority, rejected the motion and questioned its admissibility, arguing that under Standing Order 13, notice needed to be given before the motion is laid. After more than an hour of debate that excluded members of the media, the Clerk of the National Assembly had to be called in to offer advice. Mr. Isaacs said he had done research on the issue and told the PAC that the motion was proper and should be entertained. It was at this point that Patterson had to recuse himself from presiding over the meeting to allow for a full debate and vote on the motion. However, the standing order stipulates that the committee must be chaired by a member of the opposition, and while called upon, all 3 opposition MPs refused to chair the meeting. They are German Figuera, Jarita Fernandes, and Ganesh Mahaipal. Teixeira said if they continue along this line, then the work of the committee is stalled until the Committee of Selection intervenes.
So 1, no notice is required for such a motion. 2, there was no request for Mr. Patterson to be removed as a member of the PAC, but to recuse himself. If the opposition continues on their position that none of them will take the chair, then obviously the Committee of Selection will have to go back and raise the issue as to the selection of the committee. And the Speaker will probably have to get involved with having another election of the committee chair.
Meanwhile, Edgell explained that the government was not looking to remove Patterson from the PAC, but simply to have him not preside over the scrutiny of government spending when he is involved in a gift-buying scandal. He said the opposition's stance on the issue will result in a stalling of the work of the committee.
I became provoked because my level of tolerance to just watch this shameless kind of a display in the committee this morning was unbelievable. And this must be renounced in the strongest possible terms. It's a simple matter.
Patterson did not speak to the media on the matter, but his opposition colleagues said they have full confidence in him and insisted that the motion was improper, although the clerk has advised otherwise. Kurt Campbell, Newsroom.
The new Canadian High Commissioner to Guyana, Mark Berman, presented his credentials to President Irfan Ali at the Office of the President on Monday. President Ali accepted the letters of credence and reiterated his appreciation for Canada's unwavering stance in support of Guyana's democracy, borders, and overall development. Berman, who worked as the Director General for Global Affairs Canada, is replacing Lillian Chatterjee as the resident High Commissioner. Berman will also function as Canada's representative to the Caribbean community.
Let me take the opportunity from the onset to convey through you to the Honourable Prime Minister my sincere appreciation for his warm congratulatory greetings, and in turn extend my best wishes for his personal well-being and the continued progress of the people of Canada. I also reiterate my appreciation for the unwavering stance which Canada took in defense of our democracy and in support for Guyana's development. Excellency, our 2 countries share a history of extremely excellent relations, which have intensified since the establishment of diplomatic relations. Our 2 states have collaborated on matters of mutual concern, both at the bilateral and multilateral levels. Our shared respect for democracy, human rights, the rule of law, the promotion of sustainable development, each other's territorial integrity, and the peaceful resolution of controversies have provided a firm foundation for our relations.
A relationship that has benefited both our countries that has supported Guyana's development, and of course, a relationship that has seen both countries' commercial interests grow. Although I spent my first 2 weeks in Guyana in isolation, in observation of Canadian COVID protocols, I have already been contacted by so many Guyanese and Canadians whose stories have really shown how connected our countries are. In addition to this, you can continue to count on me as High Commissioner to support Guyana in the development priorities, working in areas such as private sector development, strengthening the judiciary, promoting gender equality, supporting Indigenous peoples, and other areas as you prepare for rapid action.
An outright rejection of Venezuela's renewed aggressive stance against Guyana, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and President of Guyana, Dr. Irfaan Ali, has vowed to counter the antagonism as he seeks to protect this country's national security, integrity and sovereignty.
As President of our beloved country, my single most important responsibility is to keep the Guyanese people safe. It is the first thing I think about when I wake in the morning. It is the last thing on my mind at night. And my working day is consumed by it. But I want no mistake about it. My government is doing all in its power to vigorously protect our people's health and our country's territorial integrity.
President Ali's address denounced reports of intermittent naval incursions into Guyana's waters by Venezuela's Navy over the last 2 weeks. The president said he has no intention to engage Venezuela bilaterally unless it stops its aggression towards Guyana. He said Guyana remains open to good neighborly relations with Venezuela, but it will resist all threats to national security posed by that country and the government of Nicolás Maduro.
Just as we will not relent in the battle against COVID-19, so will we not bend to threats to our national security. We may be a small country, but we are a proud people. We have no military might, but we have moral and legal right. We pick fights with no one, but will resist threats from anyone.
Guyana continues to maintain that the men were arrested and detained while fishing in waters well within Guyana's exclusive economic zone. Meanwhile, advisor on borders and former Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenidge is imploring Guyanese to stand their ground. He said no Guyanese, especially those living in the Essequibo region, should cower at the threats posed by Venezuela.
Venezuela would be very happy if Guyanese were to decide, out of fear of Venezuela, they would all get up and leave Essequibo, or perhaps leave the whole of Guyana. That's their intention, because they can then say to the world, look, these people don't really want this territory. They recognize that they're there improperly or they're not there legally, and so they're not using it. You have to avoid that.
Appearing alongside President Irfaan Ali and senior members of his government at State House on Saturday, Chief of Staff of the Ghana Defense Force Brigadier Godfrey Best said Venezuelan naval ships have been spotted in waters that make up Guyana's exclusive economic zone. According to Brigadier Best, recent sightings of the Venezuelan Navy in Guyana's waters commenced on January 14, 2021, 1 week after Maduro issued a decree to establish a new maritime territory in which he laid claims to Guyana's resource-rich maritime space. Just over a week after Venezuela issued the decree and laid claims to the Essequibo, Guyana received distressing reports that a Venezuelan naval vessel seized 2 Guyanese fishing vessels and detained its 12-member crew. Guyana sprang into action in issuing a formal protest against the illegal act, with growing support from the international community calling for the release and return of the vessels and crew. Guyana says it fully supports and awaits an outcome of the judicial process, even as it called on Venezuela to participate in the process it has so far rejected. Kurt Campbell, Newsroom.
This is the Newsroom. The government will soon commence a serosurveillance study in Guyana to determine the trends with the COVID-19 pandemic here. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony on Monday revealed that the design of the study is nearing completion. The study is being done in collaboration with the Pan American Health Organization and experts from Harvard University. While the minister did not provide much detail on the study, he explained that rapid antibody COVID-19 tests will be used to test persons across Guyana to determine how many persons had the virus without even knowing.
These tests were really the antibody tests. So you really had to get infected before you would detect any antibody. So we have most of the tests in storage, and we haven't really used it because we want to do more diagnostic work rather than screening work. We, however, late last year, we had put together a team on surveillance, and we want to do a serosurveillance study. So we have been working on the design of this study with PAHO and with some colleagues from Harvard University and our local team. They're about completing that study design and so forth. And hopefully in the first quarter of this year, we'll deploy that study. So that study would be taking some samples of various villages and people within those villages, and we'll use this antibody tests on them to determine how many of them probably might have had the infection without even knowing that they had the infection. And there's some other study objectives that we're looking at. Now, this is not going to be used in any way to determine who gets the vaccine or not.
With Guyana receiving its first donation pledge of 20,000 COVID-19 vaccines from China, President Irfan Ali has assured that each Guyanese will get to choose whether they want to be vaccinated when the immunization drive commences. The President assured that while Guyana remains on the waiting list of several distributing countries and agencies, any vaccine to be administered here will be safe, having been fully approved by the World Health Organization. In addition to China, Guyana is also in talks with India and Russia on sourcing COVID-19 vaccines. During an address to the nation from State House on Saturday, Dr. Ali said Guyana remains a part of the global competition to access vaccines. He said the objective is to get a vaccine for Guyanese as soon as possible, so as to ensure that as many Guyanese as possible are vaccinated before the end of this year. Dr. Ali said he will be the first to demonstrate by signing on to the vaccination program.
Directly negotiating with the primary manufacturers of these vaccines to access them for Guyana. Last year, Guyana joined the COVAX and is now eligible to receive vaccines for 20% of our population, which will be free of cost. We expect to receive approximately 3,800 vaccines in February and March, which will be assigned immediately for people, our frontline health workers, people with comorbidities, and our elderly. We are also working with CARICOM, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, and the European Union for a quota of vaccines. At the bilateral levels, the government of Guyana has had productive discussions with the government of India, the government of China, and the government of Russia. The government of China has confirmed that it will be donating 20,000 doses of vaccines to Guyana. Discussions are ongoing, and arrangements to acquire vaccines from these countries will be finalized very shortly.
Meanwhile, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony maintains that Guyana's main focus for procuring COVID-19 vaccines is through the COVAX facility. COVAX is one of three pillars of the Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator, which was launched in April by the WHO, the European Commission, and France in response to the pandemic. It strives to ensure that people in all corners of the world get access to COVID-19 vaccines once they are available, regardless of their wealth. Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa and his team on Saturday met with residents of Manchester, Albion and Hawkstown in Berbice, where he says he'd be working to solve issues affecting farmers in those areas.
While speaking to residents, Minister Mustafa noted the importance of the agriculture sector in Guyana's development and reassured them that the government remains committed to expanding the sector as this will create jobs, wealth and food security. The minister noted the massive investment the government has made in the sector since August to rehabilitate neglected infrastructure and reduce production costs for farmers. He added that farmers need to increase production not only to meet the needs in the domestic market, but to tap into new ones. To this end, work is being done to double production over the next 5 years.
That is why we will continue to enhance this sector. We will continue to put critical funds in this sector. We will ensure that we develop this sector so that we can tap into the markets in the Caribbean.
During the outreach, farmers raised several concerns with the minister. One farmer complained that he was denied vaccination for his livestock. Minister Mustafa said the regional agriculture coordinator and agriculture extension officers in the region need to be more accountable.
We as a government, we are procuring and putting money to the needs of the farmers, and sometimes it's not meeting the farmers. We have to ensure that we have a check and balance mechanism, and these officers have to be more accountable.
The minister said officers must be out in the fields every day across the regions.
We'll meet once again this week and they will come with a program to know, we have to know now where these officers are working, and we have to have a check and balance so that we can check with the farmers. Whenever they say they visit a particular farmers, we must have that check to know that those works are being done.
He also committed to conducting the silting works in the Manchester area and upgrading dams in about 2 weeks' time. The minister also said once an assessment is done to determine the extent of the intervention needed, work will begin.
Remember, we can't give all the work together, but I am thinking about leaving a machine in this area to do all the canals so that you can have all the work done.
Minister Mustafa is adamant that farmers should monitor the works being conducted in order to ensure that it is properly done. The visit to Berbice is the latest in a series of outreaches the agriculture minister is conducting across the countries. Reporting for the Newsroom, I am Danica Paul.
You're watching the Newsroom. The Parkrun Event Center is providing an opportunity for local and small businesses to promote their services and gain new customers by introducing Brunch with a Twist. The first event was held on Sunday and will now be held every last Sunday of the month. The owner of Parkrun, Angela Rahman, spoke with the Newsroom and explained that she thought it was a good idea to help promote small businesses through a pop-up shop with the regular Sunday brunch. Rahman said the small businesses have been hit hard by COVID-19 and as such are not being charged. A few of the business owners also spoke with the Newsroom about the services they offer and how the event has benefited them.
COVID of last year, we realized that a lot of businesses are not getting to showcase what to say that they're doing, and we found that a lot of young people are actually coming up with like great, unique ideas for businesses today. So we thought, how could we get this new business idea out from the young people to the public? So we decided to join pop-up shops with the brunch.
It was very last minute, but it's such a nice event. They're going to do it at the last Sunday and every month, and then they're going to showcase different small businesses every month. So it's a nice experience. I'm here with some of my friends that are partners in business. We're having a nice time. Creative is basically a business that utilizes creativity and consciousness and fuse it into creative and beautiful designs, like some of the t-shirts that we have here today. So we have our Valentine's specials right now that we are promoting, and I think this event was a wonderful opportunity to promote our business and to help persons to learn more about what we are doing. handmade by Hima. I make customized cards and bookmarks and other gift items.
Mainly focus on dresses, casual dresses more so, because with the pandemic upon us, you can't really go out much, but still, you know, you want to look fashionable and cute, so we tend to do casual dresses. We're located at the Babe Cave. It's on Duncan Street. It's before Middleton Street on the right hand side, and being here at the first brunch with a twist has actually been beneficial for us because we're having a little bit more exposure. People are becoming au fait with what preview is about.
I was able to, most of the people here actually are, some are clients, but I was able to reach new people. I was able to have an interaction with people who had questions that kind of wanted a little bit of a one-on-one, a one-on-one Q&A.
When the newsroom returns, the financial weather and bridge reports along with sport. Welcome back. You're watching the newsroom. It's time for sport. And this evening, we begin with the reaction of Robin Phillips, president of the newly formed Buxton Playfield Committee, after a pledge by the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports to upgrade the community's playground was realized. Avinash Ramzan reports.
The minister was on a follow-up visit to inspect works on the playfield after he made promises to have the ground upgraded during an initial visit in December. Speaking on behalf of the committee, Phillips commended the minister for, quote-unquote, standing to his word.
Indeed, he had stand to his word. He had made a promise to us here in Buxton to upgrade this facility. And I want to say to him this afternoon, you're a man of your word. Indeed, you have come up to the task that you have planned to set out for us in Buxton. And I know that the community at large is very happy for what has been done on this playfield. It was in a very terrible state. Everything was just falling apart for the number of years, and it was just a few months you was here and you made a promise to us that you're going to do something for us, and indeed we can all look around and see a great improvement, and I trust that you would continue to be the person you are, and the government would work towards the betterment of the people of Buxton and its neighboring community.
Minister Ramson Jr. said he was shocked at the state of the ground when he visited towards the end of 2020, and it was important work was expedited to bring the facility to a respectable standard. The big issue for Ramson Jr. was one of safety, as the fence was falling apart and electrical wires were on the ground, thereby putting residents at risk.
What we did so far with the community, directly with the community, is we got the fence fixed, we got the ground filled and leveled, we got the stands fixed and repaired, we got the wiring fixed as well. Those things are really important for there to be even a baseline for us to do anything else. I think so far it's been about $2 million that's been spent, but I've been across the country, we've been spending millions of dollars across every ground. It's important that when I came here, we came here in a very public way and we made some public commitments. It's important that the public knows that I'm fulfilling those promises, because that is something that the president said that we must do. The president and the vice president said we must do. Whenever we make our promises, we must fulfill our promises.
This refurbishing project fits neatly into the ministry's plan to have the youth population engaged in tournaments, which the minister has earmarked as a key driver of development. With a space to showcase their athletic ability, those above average players will then be identified for specialized training and coaching. Minister Ramson Jr. said the ministry, and by extension the government, will continue to work on building community relations, as it is an imperative step in the process of nation building. As part of his visit, The minister also presented football equipment to youngsters of the community. The Buxton ground is predominantly used for football, and president of the local governing body, Wayne Ford, commended Ramson Jr. and the government for their quote-unquote tremendous effort and investment.
So, Minister, I think that you've set a fine example, an example of one where you would have recognized the need to engage and do something positive in a community, and you have backed up your commitment to them with action and investment. And I think if that spirit can be replicated across Guyana, then it bodes well not just for football, but for all sport discipline. And I want to place on record my personal congratulations to you for that.
Ford pointed out that in 2016, the Guyana Football Federation had made attempts to assist in the sprucing up of the venue through the erection of goal posts, upgrade of floodlights, and the acquisition of a transformer. However, Ford highlighted that mitigating the competing interests in the community proved a challenge, which makes the current intervention even more significant.
It is unfortunate that our own experience is many times when we go into community and we try to implement these kind of projects, members of the community cannot see beyond the impact that a good venue and good equipment will have on the youth. A community ground is a safe space. It's a space that young people do things that are alternative to very deviant behaviors.
As part of its own infrastructural development program, the Federation will soon commence upgrade works on the Anns Grove ground on the east coast of Demerara and another in Berbice. A combined $20 million would be expended on those venues, Ford revealed. Reporting for Newsroom, I'm Avinash Ramzan.
That's it from me, Neil Marks. Avinash Ramzan has the rest of the sport news.
We tell you now that head coach Phil Simmons has indicated that West Indies will play two spinners against Bangladesh in the first test, which starts on Tuesday, 23 hours 30 Eastern Caribbean time in Chattogram. The move is of little surprise given the conditions and the fact that when they last toured in November 2018, 3 frontline spinners and 2 seamers were in the playing 11. Akeem Green reports.
Judging from the success of the players group in recent years, the temptation might have been to stick with such at a possible expense of playing the batsman short. But based on reports, the pitch conditions point towards little assistance for the faster men.
The most important sign from the tour match is this guy's attitude towards trying to put in place the things that we've been working on and to spend time at the crease and develop their understanding of the wickets here. Slow, low is a little bit different. So it was good to see them spending time at the crease. The spinners are always going to have an impact, whichever 2 of the 3 main spinners play. So it's something that we're looking forward to see how much of an impact and what type of wicket we also get, because we haven't seen the test wicket for 5 days now. So we'll see what type of test wicket we're getting tomorrow.
In a 3-day practice match against the Bangladesh Cricket Board 11, Rakeem Cornwall bowled 16.4 overs and took 5 for 47. Warwick had 3 for 25 in 7 overs, and Pramal, who only bowled in his second innings, was wicketless in his 11 overs, which went for 21 runs. Simmons, in response to a question from Newsroom Sport, indicated the Guyanese, who was the lead,
one is closer than the other. I think he's bowled well since he's been here. He works hard, as does everyone else in the squad, but he does work hard and he's up for selection. Everyone's fit and ready to go. So maybe tomorrow evening we will decide on what the final 11 is.
Worrying signs are already ensuing since during the ODI series, which West Indies lost 3-0, of the 30 wickets, 13 were to spinners Shakib Al Hassan and Mehdi Hassan, who both wreaked havoc in the last test series. Simmons had called on the Caribbean batsmen to play spin better and indicated Monday they have been looking to employ different tactics. Unlike the visitors who were on their 3rd test tour during the pandemic, this will be Bangladesh's first test series, and the coach felt while the hosts remain favoured, if West Indies can strike early, they can pose a challenge.
I think that a little bit of vulnerability could be early in the test because, as was mentioned before, they haven't played any international test cricket for a year now, and getting back into it might be a little bit of vulnerability earlier on, but I'm sure that will soon be taken care of because they have a fairly experienced team, the likes of Tamin and Sakib, in the team. The experience is there, so it might not last too long. But if it does happen, we have to take that opportunity and seize on it.
West Indies are in search of their first away series win since they defeated Zimbabwe in October 2018. And both West Indies and Bangladesh are at the bottom of the ICC Test Championship table, a reflection as well in the Test rankings in 8th and 9th respectively. West Indies, who are without several of their senior players due to concerns over COVID-19, have not won a Test series in Bangladesh since November 2012. For the Newsroom, Akim Green.
Now, West Indies Test captain Craig Brathwaite is generally satisfied with the progress of the bowlers and batsmen in the three-day warm-up game against the Bangladesh Cricket Board 11 at the weekend. The match ended in a draw, but all the players eligible for Test selection got some time in the middle.
Overall, what are your thoughts on the warm-up match that we just completed?
Very happy. Thought the guys got a good blow. The batters got two chances to bat. Some guys got some good scores. Fast bowlers, the spinners got second innings to bowl as well. Got 30 overs in. Was quite happy. We got 10 wickets in the first innings, which was good. And I think the guys ready to go.
Do you think the conditions will be similar in the Test matches?
Yeah, I think it'd be quite similar. Obviously, this pitch wasn't bouncing much, and I think the first Test, especially playing here, already plays similar, slow and low. So I think this practice game should do as well.
How impressed were you with Rakeem Cornwall's performance with the ball in the first innings?
Well, very, very impressed. He bowled well, he created a lot of pressure, bowled a lot of dot balls. I know the ability of Rakeem. I know he was always, a quality off spinner, so it was good to see him, in these conditions, and, I know he will do well in this Test series.
Do you think the batsmen had a decent enough run out to prepare for the matches?
Yeah, I think so for sure. What I just want to urge for them is, to trust your plans. Simple as that. Some guys got some good scores, so we know we did to get those scores. So we just gotta trust that same plan. In the Test matches. It's as simple as that. I know the guys could do it.
You mentioned some good scores. Are there any batsmen that you were particularly impressed by in that warm-up match?
Well, I mean, all the batters. Obviously Bonner it was very good to see Bonner, get a nice score. I thought John batted well in both innings. Carl Mears. I don't want to single out guys, but obviously Bonner, I was really having for him. He's been working really hard. Everybody's really working hard, to be honest. But it was good to see him get a score, and I'm confident all the batters. Some guys didn't get the scores they would like, but some guys still behind the nets and kept putting in the work. So. The guys confident, and it just for us to enjoy it.
What improvements do you think the team will need to make in order to be successful in the upcoming series?
Well, I think as a bowling unit, we gotta stick to the plans, both to the field. To be honest, create pressure with dot balls, and wickets will come. And batting wise, we gotta get batters, including myself, got a 50 in this game, and I didn't go on. So I think any batter that gets in is key. For them to go on and get 3 figures, and that will help the team, get a nice total.
And personally, what are you looking forward to the most in this upcoming series?
Well, I'm looking forward to leading the team. Obviously, Jason's not here. I look forward to leading the team. Obviously, opening batsman, got my job, facing the first ball. So, I just want to lead, from the batting point of view, and then, going on the field, making the decisions. I just look forward to going there and representing West Indies, and I know the guys will do well in this series.
Still in cricket, when Cricket Guyana Inc. announced their 15-man squad for this month's Regional Super 50, Kimal Savory's name was not on the list. Unfortunate circumstances meant he replaced Trevon Griffith, who tested positive for COVID-19, and he wants to make good use of the opportunity. He spoke to Akim Green before departure on Saturday for Antigua.
After the first round of COVID-19 testing, Griffith's positive result was announced. It came after he had played in all 3 practice matches and was set to travel. Out of Griffith's gloom comes the light of a second chance for Savory, who made his List A debut in the 2019 season.
When I got the call, I was at training, and it was kind of surprising, because it's not something anyone would wish on anyone or that way, it just happened, you feel it for him. And when I got the call, I was, overjoyed. for getting that opportunity again to represent my country. You know, I've been there, I think in 2019. I know how it feels to represent the country, you know. So getting the opportunity again, I'm looking forward to grab it with both hands.
In his debut season, he struck a vital 7-1 not-out from 146 balls, which led Jaguars to a nervy 2-wicket victory over eventual champions West Indies emerging players. The left-hander from Essequibo played 4 more matches, but added just 14 more runs to end the season with an average of 21.25 and a strike rate of 48.29. He also had 2 stumpings in the 3 innings he kept wicket. With the nerves of the first season gone, the 24-year-old indicated he has worked overtime on improving his game.
During the lockdown, you know, it was difficult training on your own, but I was working on try rotating the strike as much as possible. I think that was one of my downfall last tournament. So I think that is one of the area I've been working on very hard. Try rotating the strike. Don't put much pressure on me. Well, now it will be a different role opening the batting. It's a 50-over game. Only 2 players allowed in out the circle in a power play. So that will be an advantage for me, and I'm looking forward to, you know, grab that with both hands as well.
All of the franchises for this Super 50 have most of the services of their international players, who would normally be unavailable. Chairman Het Meyer and Romero Shepherd will be the 2 big names for the Jaguars, but Servi felt one should keep an eye out for the youngsters.
It will be a tough tournament because playing with guys like Pollard, Evan Lewis, Sunil Narayan, Jason Holder, and the rest of West Indies big names who will be in this tournament. People might say they have the advantage, but I still believe that the Guyana Jaguars, the team we have, is a good bunch of guys, young talent, players that are hungry, you know, players want to do good. And I think that would be a boost for us. Bringing on the title this year, that would be a boost, because if you look at our squad, it might just have a Timaya or a Shepard and a Barnwell, but people wouldn't like much look at the youngsters coming up. But what I could tell you that each and every one of the players in that team is hungry to do well.
The former national youth player expressed thanks for the continued support of the Guyana Police Force, of whom he plays club cricket, Vinet Communications, and close friend Trevor Ben for all the years of advice which drives him to perform. He said he wants to do whatever he can to make Guyana Jaguars 5th-over champions this year. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
Football news now. The senior national men's team will be highly competitive against Trinidad and Tobago in the first FIFA World Cup qualifier fixture in March and has a good chance of delivering a surprise, according to the Golden Jaguars head coach Marzio Maximo. The Golden Jaguars will face Trinidad and Tobago away in Group F of the first round of CONCACAF qualifying on March 25, followed by a home match against the Bahamas on March 29. The domestic-based squad is currently training 5 days a week at the Guyana Football Federation's National Training Center at Providence. Maximo said the Jaguars have a good chance to deliver a surprise, noting that although Trinidad and Tobago has been to the World Cup before, the Guyanese are not intimidated. Maximo said the players are motivated, and while he's not predicting a win, he's anticipating a competitive showing from the Jaguars. Only the winner of Group F will progress to the second of 3 rounds of qualification for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Maximo said he was impressed with the level of commitment shown by the squad as players work hard to regain fitness and secure a place in the final squad after a prolonged layoff due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And with that, we have come to the end of the news for this evening. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for listening.